All right, I think we're live. All right, I think I am finally live, both on Facebook, Good Stuff Marysville Facebook page, and on YouTube. So if you are watching, hello, leave a comment. I ran out of time on Friday to do a live. I usually like to do these on Friday, but I think I'm making progress. I got my audio and my slides going through Good Stuff Marysville here. Unfortunately, I can't get my good audio to go to YouTube, so thanks for bearing with me. We'll keep going there. But this is highlights and high. Excuse me. Apparently, I should have cleared my throat first. This is highlights and high fives. My name is Derek Schwinn. I am your host of the Good Stuff Podcast, Good Stuff Marysville. And this is all about celebrating the stuff going on here in our community here lately, talking about some of the updates that I've been paying attention to here in the community. So, I've got some pictures, some videos, some websites, and things to look at and talk about what's going on. My next live will be July 18th is my next one. I'm going to try to schedule these out a little bit farther in advance. And space them out about every 3 weeks to let some things happen and have some more content to share and some more updates and news, so to speak, to share with you guys. So, if there is anything you want to see, anything you've got going on out there, I would love for you to share that. I just had the idea here a few minutes ago to create a Good Stuff submission form. If you got good stuff I can help promote, love for you to share that with me so I can help promote some more of the good stuff going on here in our community. If you want to stay up to date, at least what I'm paying attention to, follow along wherever you're watching this, or you can subscribe to the Good Stuff newsletter. And if you want to support the good stuff going on around here, or at least what I've got going on, looking for sponsors to partner with and help promote the good stuff that they've got going on and maybe reach some business goals they've got. Like I said, my name is Derek Schwinn. I'm a local real estate agent for the last 13 years. Been in the community since '93, plan to stay here for a long time. And also owner of the Good Stuff Media Company, where we help businesses and organizations clarify their message, create media and marketing to get out in front of those folks that they need to get out in front of. But the top 3 stories that I've got, it's hot. Marysville is definitely warming up. Number 2, inside millage and the state budget and all that's going on there. I think the last time I checked on that, it looks like they left inside millage into the state budget, so local municipalities can still get that funding. Otherwise, a lot of the services that we rely on or that we need to rely on every now and again would not be there. There's still a lot of conversation on property tax. My third point is, our big news is Joe Case from Marysville Matters sat over here on the podcast on Friday, so that podcast will be out on July 4th. He made some crystal ball predictions and just kind of highlighted some of the things that he's seeing as trends and patterns that we're going to see for the rest of the year here in Marysville and things to watch out for. The thing he said was the biggest also, would be property taxes. We've got our 6th year. There's all kinds of cycles for the auditor on property evaluations, and we've got a big one coming up here. And as you can imagine, there is a lot of demand for housing here in the area, just like many other places in the country. But I saw a map the other day that had Union County as one of the few in this region anyway that have a very high demand for housing. So in that, there's a lot of efforts to, there's even an effort to get rid of property taxes in Ohio, which I'm not sure there's any sense to that without a backup plan. So hopefully that doesn't go through unless there's a good backup plan of how to take care of the things that taxes take care of. So those are 3 of the big things that I've been paying attention to and involved in here lately. So a few of the updates from City Council last on the 23rd of June. 5 big points to pull away from that. They had some free pool days on June 24th and 25th. Obviously, you can't take advantage of those, but look out for those in the future when it starts to get hot. There was a mural unveiling at Lewis Park, quite a big one there. I assume on the big block building. Would that be on the north end of town? We've got 4th of July celebrations coming up. There will be a parade on July 4th at 10 a.m. beginning at American Legion Park. And Friday fireworks show is scheduled for Saturday, July 5th at dusk. I will be up north, but hopefully all of you enjoy those fireworks. Hometown Auto is set to be demolished. And let's see. Wrong slide. I made these notes for Friday, but whoops. Still getting used to this. As you can see, Hometown Auto is being demolished here. Looks like at the rate they're going, it'll be a couple of days and they'll have it all taken care of. And then maybe we'll have some parking, additional parking here in the Uptown before too long. Concerns over water usage, proposed data centers. My neighbor, friend, and done a little bit of work with him in the past, Ryan Bashong. He's the president of, I forget what it's called, the Ohio basically water, oh man, I can't come up with it. Basically, the association for folks that deal with drinking water in the groundwater. He's the president of that association, and he spoke up about his concerns about the data centers and the future data centers that could come and how much water they might use and how that's going to affect the groundwater and wells for the local residents around there and just overall the impact that that's going to have. So those are the big takeaways from City Council on June 23rd. Schools, the only update I could really get out of that, school will begin, I think it was August 20, or let's see, I think it was the 18th, staggered start. Looks like summer is almost over, it feels like, which is crazy. A bit of sarcasm there. There's a board meeting on August 21st, and community coffee, it looks like the day before school was on August 17th. So, great place to connect with some leadership, I'm assuming, and share your thoughts and opinions. My guess is our new superintendent, Dr. Zach Howard, will be there. I've actually connected with him to come in and do quarterly updates here on the podcast. And, you know, especially as he comes into our district and brings whatever new he is bringing. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. Hopefully I can get him scheduled on the podcast soon. And my notes just went black. All right, and then for something that's always on our minds, I was coming through, came through 5 Points to go out to Boston's for lunch with a friend, and there was a solid line of traffic from there pretty much all the way out to 33, and then had a few rounds of the light go through, and folks, you know, trying to make it through there, and obviously the light isn't always timed correctly with that many lanes of traffic. We have Coleman's Crossing and Industrial Parkway roundabout going on right now that we can't get through there, so a lot of traffic is being diverted there. Coleman's Crossing and Delaware Avenue or 36, whatever it's technically called at that point, and just a ton of traffic. So construction, the projects, the growth, the growing pains, all of the stuff going on. I'll show it here in a little bit, but the city, just like I've shared in the past, the capital improvements that the city has made an interactive map with some information, some timelines that you can look and see a visual map of where the projects are, what projects there are. Some details along with that. They now have a residential development map like that. So it should be a complete or pretty complete collection of the residential developments that are going on in our community. And let's see if I go back. Is anybody watching and gonna leave any comments out there? If you had to guess how many houses are under construction or approved to be constructed here in, I'm guessing it's the city limits of Marysville. I was pretty blown away at the total number, and I'm happy to share the website, or you can take a look at it. And excuse me, fact check me on this, but if you add up all of the numbers of units that are listed in there, the total number of under construction or approved residential units to be built in the city of Marysville, 4,086. Joe Case with Marysville Matters shared an article about this as well in his newsletter today. So that information will start getting out there. But 4,086 units for residential development will be are in the pipeline or under construction right now. So to me, that is crazy. That is just too much in my opinion. But so yeah, that's going to come with a lot more congestion, a lot more construction, a lot more growing pains. So some say that brings a lot more amenities, like Roosters being renovated, Chick-fil-A on the way. I've got a couple pictures, and hopefully have some more progress videos and pictures of the old Cabinet Company building. Somebody out of Dublin apparently has purchased that and is putting 8 townhouses up in the second and third floors. And then on the first floor, they've got a wellness center, I think, going in the one end. There's an apartment on the other end. I don't know if they're keeping that or not. Obviously, Dairy Queen's getting a facelift. We got the roundabout, the stairs out at the reservoir to kind of complete the connector trail from, I believe it's the Jim Simmons Trail, out to the reservoir there. And then we've got Dunkin' Donuts, I believe it's the old Union. Let's see if it says here. Well, it's 115 North Main Street in Uptown. It looks like they've submitted to do some renovations there. So hopefully that's a nice addition there. I'm not sure if they have any plans of what's going to go in there. I believe there's a tattoo shop that moved in there now, but lots of growth, lots of things going on. So again, I can share that link for that interactive map to show you all the residential developments. And likewise, I've thought about doing kind of a similar resource of, as I go out and take pictures and videos and try to document the change that's going on and kind of give some picture and video evidence of what's going on in case you're out of town, maybe you've moved out of town, or you don't go to one side of town or the other. I think it's always fascinating to see what's going on. There's times where I don't head down certain streets or different areas, and then I go down there months later, and it's a lot different. Plain City, Crosby, I remember I hadn't been down there forever and went down, I guess it was industrial, and just all that was going on there. Some of it I didn't even recognize, didn't realize where I was at with the roundabouts and different things. So anyway, lots there. A few events to mention. Next Uptown Friday night is July 11th. I think the next one after that is like August 15th. I'll be back at that one for the Uptown streaming for the sensory-friendly experience in conjunction with the Avalon and Board of Development. No, which one is that? Yeah, the Board of DD, I believe. Another great one that I one day hopefully will participate in. Still have not. I keep saying it year after year. But the Covered Bridge dinner or lunches, I think they have lunches also. I'm not 100% sure, but there's a website you can check out. There was one over the weekend on June 28th, but there will be one July 12th, August 23rd, September 13th, and October 4th. So again, that website, dineonacoveredbridge.com if you want to check that one out. Union County Fair is coming up July 20th to the 26th. And the most exciting one, I would say, today, June 30th, at, I believe it's 6 to 8 over at the police department out on the west side of town, is a public open house. If you have any opinions of how they should do some street improvements for East 5th Street, and they've got a map here, a picture here. It looks like it's going to go from Walnut Street just past Vine Street. So if you've got any questions or concerns you want to share there or see what they've got going on, sounds like you've got the opportunity to go to an open house there and participate in that. When Joe Case was on, his interaction with the city, they're working on revitalizing one of their plans or reassessing one of their comprehensive plans, I'm guessing is what it is. What the goal of the city should be in the future. And it sounds like they've taken to heart that the community, residents of the community are frustrated with growth and have some opinions to share. So it sounds like they're going to do their best to hear those thoughts and really look for feedback from the community. So obviously I'll do my best to keep you up to date with that, and even talk to Joe if there's any ways we can bring folks in to share their opinions, or maybe I can bring my podcast equipment to an Uptown Friday night or sit uptown and get people's candid real-world opinions. Always interesting to do that. My lovely wife is part of Legally Blonde, the encore musical this summer, July 18th and 19th at 7 p.m. and the 20th at 3 o'clock. Always a great show. A lot of talent there. Obviously, I share a lot of art stuff if you've paid attention for a while. My wife, I get to be a party to that. Some ongoing things. The skate park, there's a GoFundMe to support the skate park. It sounds like the city didn't pitch in a whole lot of money there. So it sounds like they've got to raise some money, but they've got the green light to go ahead and work on some improvements there at the skate park, trying to make it better. What else? Kind of it for that. So as a real estate agent, I feel it's my duty to at least somewhat share the real estate market and keep you up to date with what's going on there. So just a quick run through. In general, I like to look at just the Marysville School District and the data for that. So just a quick run through here. I'll read my notes. There were 44 new listings month to date as of Friday, the 27th. That was a 2% increase year over year. There's 64 active listings on Friday. That's a 52% increase year over year. In contract, those properties that were for sale but are now in contract, there were 47 of those, a 24% increase year over year. There were 43 that sold, I believe month to date. I need to check that. I'm kind of pulling different reports there. 13% increase there. The average for sale asking price, $462,000, a 1% increase year over year. $394,000 is what they sold for in month to date as of Friday, which is a 15% decrease. So one of the trends I've seen there with the asking price and listing price, and to me the kind of tarot cards, if you will, as the market really ramped up and people realized they could sell their houses for more, that asking price that people were asking for their house was climbing. That started to go down, where people are realizing the market is cooling off and isn't as hot and crazy as it has been, although it is still relatively good. Excuse me. I think I might have those numbers wrong. But anyway, you were seeing the sold price going up, and lagging to that asking price. I'm not making any sense. Basically, people were realizing, oh, we can get enough for our house. And then the asking price came up, and now we aren't seeing people stretch as far price-wise and go as crazy as we were. And the sold price was kind of lagging on that upward trend, but now it's going down year over year, 15%. Now, anyway, days on market, 14 days on market to get your house in contract. I just had one that went in contract at about that same rate. That's a 53% decrease, which is more competitive for you sellers out there, and 1.3 month of inventory, which is a 31% increase year over year. So still a competitive market. But one of the things I mentioned earlier that I wanted to share, we have 3 houses in the Marysville School District that are listed for $900,000 or more. One's $899,000. One is, what is it? 2.425,000. One is 1.2 million, basically 1.3, just shy. And then one, like I said, one's basically right at 900,000. So in comparison, I looked back the last 10 years, how many houses had sold at 900,000 or more. There were only 5. So in 10 years, we had 5 properties, or five residential dwellings, basically 5 houses that sold in that price point. And right now we've got 3 on the market for more than that. And there's one just over Delaware County line for a horse farm that's $3.5 million. So anyway, if you haven't paid attention to the real estate market, obviously it's gotten more expensive. It's been competitive. It's a changed landscape. So that is what it is there. Okay, so I promised some slides and some things here. So just so this was the salon that they're gonna. Oh, sorry, I didn't mention this one yet. The folks that bought the cabinet company uptown, my understanding is they bought the old Marysville Printing as well, and where Stewart Strip Driving was next to it. In the old Marysville Printing building, they're putting a salon So I've got a couple of pictures and videos of things scattered through here. Next time I'll get them more organized to match my notes. Going for the rustic feel here. Looks like they're doing a good job. A nice one there. But the space next to it where Stuart Strip driving, I believe the commercial space downstairs is still available. The apartment upstairs is still available. And then a little while ago they did a contest for artists to submit murals or paintings or images to put on these like electrics. I believe they're the control boxes for the stoplights uptown. Really cool. If you haven't seen them in person, you ought to check them out. This one's up by Partners Park, and I believe what they did was print it on a vinyl wrap and then wrapped the vinyl wrap around here. I thought they were actual paintings, but somebody corrected me that they are not. Pretty cool. Again, out of order. I've got a website pulled up from ABC6 with some other slides. But if you didn't see the news, the water and light plan or project there with the silos and the old water plant. I think it's 18 acres total right in that general area. All of the stuff that's going on there. I'll show more there, but they just got officially awarded a good deal of money, and it sounds like maybe they'll start moving forward here soon. Again, the cabinet company building. You can see the dumpster there. They're throwing stuff out there. This was the guy working and just kind of looked like an interesting picture to take. Here's another one of the murals on the control boxes there in front of the Presbyterian Church. Really cool. Whoever did that, it's a really good job. This is a really neat one too. Got obviously a lot of vibrant colors, kind of a stained glass look to it, an old school look. But let's see where I zoomed in. I believe this was Kylie that works up at West 5th Kitchen, but I'm not 100% sure. Somebody told me that might have been the case. But took a lot of these old pictures and put them within this imagery, so pretty neat. One of the coolest things, I think, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but uptown apparently there used to be these arches, kind of like in the short north, and at one point I heard a plan to maybe bring those back to the uptown and put lights and maybe a sign that says Marysville, welcome to Marysville. Pretty cool. Love these old pictures. Always wonder what it would be like to go back to yesteryear and walk through Old Town, specifically Marysville. Here was my shaky drone footage to say we've got more apartments. So just this is outside of, or next to Mill Valley, next to 33. Even more apartments going there. I think that one's called Copper Run. So as you can see, quite a bit going there. And then Dunkin' Donuts site is prepped and should start going up here soon. And like I showed earlier, here's the Hometown Auto going on, the demolition going on. It looked like the old Gates Brothers building in front of that had some scaffolding out front, like maybe there's some stuff going on there. I've heard some rumors of what's going on there, but not sure. This is inside of the salon for the old Marysville printing building. Looks pretty cool. Wood floors, brick obviously on the walls and whatnot. Sorry for the video being all over. I'll get it organized here soon. And then if you know a restaurant or somebody wants to open a restaurant where Half Pint was, we could always use more restaurants. And again, cabinet company building, if you're not familiar with the front of it, that was a shot of the front. Some of the construction going on. I talked to this guy, this brick building here that used to be a little dealership uptown. I think he's asking about $1 million for that property. So as a real estate agent, happy to help you out if you want to buy that and put some sort of business or something in there. They renovated a fair bit of it, so might look a little older from the outside, but a lot of good stuff on the inside from what he said. Again, the old Union Electric building here, or Union Electronics, I'm sorry. They'll be working on that. And this was just a shot of the Oaks out on 38 going. So anyway, there's some of my slides. Let's go to this. You don't need to see that. So let's go back to the start. So this is the Water and Light project. So down here is Elwood. You got the silos. So I believe, let's see what my notes say. That's Water and Light. So 315 apartments will go in here. Quite a bit of added traffic. So then the String Ridge String Ridge Road Bridge will be relocated here to this site as a walking path, kind of in the middle of the development, I assume. And there's a better rendering of it. And then they're just making the old water plant look nice there. I think I missed some. I was going to try. That's a better picture there, maybe. So it looks like pickleball. I'm guessing that's the water plant there. Another building here, Mill Creek, the apartments. So anyway, just illustrating there's a lot to go on there. There's the cool one right off of the main drag of Main Street. So pretty neat one there. Let's see if that video will play real quick. Tried to play it earlier, but there was an ad we had to sit through. Yeah, we didn't need to sit through that. Anyway, so that's basically what I had for this week's update video. Like I said, if you've got good stuff going on, anything I can help promote, I'd love for you to share that with me so I can help promote more of the good stuff going on. That is the goal here. Like I said, follow along wherever you're watching this. Subscribe to the Good Stuff Marysville newsletter. A different format of putting all of this stuff out. Got a lot of videos and a lot of content planned and a lot of stories to tell here moving forward. A lot of podcast guests. I think I've got 14 on the roster right now to get scheduled and distributed out to the community. So hopefully there's some good stuff in those that you guys will value. If you have any suggestions or, like I said, any good stuff to submit, let me know. I think that was about all I had. So hopefully we can connect here in the future. Keep up the good work. Until next time, go do some good stuff.